Alright, welcome to another video, and before we get started, I'd like to take a quick minute to thank all the Patreon supporters and YouTube channel members whose names you see scrolling across the screen right now. They make this financially possible, and without you, I probably wouldn't be here making videos, so thank you. Alright, so today we're going to be taking a look at the Adam RC Penguin. This one was sent to me by Adam RC for review, and huge thank you to them for that. It's not a design that I would typically purchase for myself, but now that I've had a chance to fly it and see what it's all about, it's pretty enjoyable, and it's kind of growing on me. As far as visuals, you see it's kind of a little short, fat, kind of cartoony looking almost. It's kind of how I would describe it. But it's a twin motor tractor, obviously, with a kind of two vertical stabilizers and short couple long cord wing and some stabilizers behind it. It basically has a tail on it, a little short couple tail. I'm not going to do like an unboxing and a building and everything like that, because there's plenty of those videos around, and I mean you can kind of see pictures of what you get and what you don't before you buy it anyway. So we'll just kind of give you a quick look at how I have this one set up, and then we'll just get right into some flying. So we'll start at the front. Right up here, I'm using this nose. There are some optional noses. There comes with like a foam plug that you can use instead of this plastic nose up front. But I do like this plastic piece. It bolts on. You can kind of see back in there. There's two screws that attach it to the firewall. This little plastic firewall is glued into the fuselage, and then you attach this piece on the front. And obviously, I have my camera. This is a Foxair Toothless Nano 2 camera, and there's some little black spacers that comes with the parts bag in the kit to allow you to mount different size cameras. This is the smallest one that will fit without any kind of modifications or anything. Now you see my video transmitter antenna. It's a little 1.3 gigahertz whip, little base loaded whip antenna, the little racewood antennas that I like. It's actually put an old Maytech 1.3 gigahertz transmitter in here. Now, my initial flight, the first time I flew it, was on 5.8 using a little small low power 5.8 transmitter, and I quickly decided I didn't like that, so I replaced it with a 1.3 that I had just sitting around on my bench and going unused anyway. But the interesting thing about this little plastic nose, it comes with a little tray that will kind of slide into the back and has different mounting patterns. It's intended to use a HD transmitter, like HD0, Walksnail, DJI, whatever. And the camera mounts in front, and the transmitter will fit right there with plenty of cooling. And you see the slot in the top. There's actually a little optional piece you can screw onto that tray that'll hold the antennas to poke up through here. It's pretty much, just plug and play, just bolt on and go for HD video systems. But obviously I'm running analog for now. So this is the RTH model that comes basically with the plug-and-play with motors and speed controllers and servos, plus Adam RC's F405 Navi flight controller that we'll take a look at in a minute. But right now I want to talk about the motors. These are the motors that comes in the kit, or with the plug-and-play. These are 2400 kV, and I believe the size is 2004 is the size, and they're 2400 kV motors. And they come with these props. These are Gemfan 6026 props. They're the style that kind of bolt on with the two screws in the front of the motor there. And I am running it on 4S, so we can pull the top canopy off the front one. By the way, this does attach with a nylon thumb screw. You see right down there, it just kind of threads into the fuselage. I just have one unscrewed for the video right now, so it's quicker and easier to get into. But this is where this one balances with this layout. It balances with a 4S 18650. This is the Titan battery that I've used for, a few years now in various airplanes. But it's basically a 4S 18650 pack. And you can see it's kind of toward the front half of the battery bay, but I'd call that still in the middle. You got plenty of room to go forward if you want to put something heavier in the back, or you can go back if you want to have something heavier up front. Or you could probably also run some 21700s and fly them a little further back, and it would balance just fine. But it's proven to be pretty efficient for me, it ends up cruising around like 3.5, 4 amps most of the time. So this 3500 18650 is just fine for what I'm doing with it. And if you decided to that you need it to fly longer, just probably run some 21700s. That would be my suggestion. So we'll move back and take the next hatch off. Again, this one mounts with the thumb screw in the back. Now this hole is not here. I added this in it for extra cooling, or not so much cooling, but to get the airflow out. I was building a static pressure in the fuselage with this opening on the front where the camera mounts. It has a pretty good air intake behind it, and I found that my altimeter was reading a bit low once it built up airspeed. So I cut that extra hole in the top of the canopy. You can see what size it is there. It's not real big. It's just a little cutout to let more airflow out of the back so it doesn't build static pressure in the fuselage. And that did seem to improve things a little bit. But yeah. So moving back to the rear section of the fuselage here, if I can get it in the camera view. This is the F405 Navi, which is Atom RC's own branded flight controller. That seems to work well. It's the same one that I'm running in the Swordfish. It will support iNav or ArduPilot. It comes with iNav pre-installed, preloaded. Now I am flying this one on iNav for now. Mostly because I didn't really see the need for some of the benefits that ArduPilot offers. And it's been a while since I did an iNav build. And in fact, right now, none of my other airplanes that I'm flying regularly have iNav on them. I've moved them all to ArduPilot. So I wanted to keep something in my fleet for a little while, at least with iNav on it, just to kind of stay caught up on iNav and try out some of the new stuff that's in 6.1 or 6.0.1. I forget, whatever the latest release is right now. That's what I have on it. It comes with an older version of iNav. I think it's like 6.0.0, but I didn't even try that configuration or pull anything from it or whatever. I just wiped the board, updated it to the new iNav, and did my own setup. Now, one thing, talking about the setup before we forget to mention it, the servos comes with the push rods mounted all the way in the outer holes, and I moved them in 2 holes because the control throws were way too high out of the box. It just physically, they looked like they were outrageously high. And once I flew it, even with these reduced rates, I still had to go back and reduce the rates in iNav setup too. So you might want to tame it down a little bit before you fly it. And you can always go back up later if you prefer those higher crazy rates like that. But I did that on the elevator as well. The elevator servo came with a linkage in the second to last hole, but I still moved it in 2 holes, so it's still 1 hole further in than the aileron servos. But talking about servo linkages, you can see they're doing the double control horns with the ball link captured between them, and then the control horns, they do attach in a way that they kind of tie in with the little carbon spars in here. That's the same thing on the tail, same setup. These servos that are included are Metal Gear digital servos, and these are like really quiet, smooth servos. I really like these servos. I'm really impressed with those. Really high quality servos. Other differences, it comes with a GPS. Now you see these little covers. You can kind of see the outline. That's a little hatch that comes out. I have it taped in right now, so I don't want to remove it. But it comes with a GPS installed in this little bay, and then you put the cover on over it yourself. They suggest gluing them in, but like I said, I just taped over them for now. You can kind of, if I can catch a glare, you can kind of see I just have one little piece of tape on one side just to make sure it doesn't pop out. I cut these holes out. These holes were kind of marked, and they were not opened up by default, but I did kind of cut them out myself just for a little bit of airflow. GPS obviously is not going to get very hot, but I do have a Crossfire receiver in here running telemetry. They can get a little bit warm if you run them down enclosed in a little cavity like that. So this one, you can kind of see my Crossfire antenna. It's just poked through the bottom of the fuselage, or through the wing there. And the top was supposed to be kind of captured by this little hatch, but it ended up kind of ripping the foam when I was cutting it out, so just kind of ignore that for now. But there's a Crossfire receiver kind of hidden down in there in that little bay. And there's some openings, cables run out into the fuselage for whatever's in those bays. I guess that's pretty much it as far as what's unique about my setup. So yeah, like I said, if you want to watch an unboxing and building, you probably have to go find that somewhere else. I don't think I'm going to do one. Or it's kind of too late to do an unboxing anyway. But yeah, I guess we'll get on with some flight footage. So let's do that now. Alright, so I won't bore you too much with any of the footage from the first two flights. The first flight was obviously just a quick maiden flight just to make sure that it actually did fly at all and get things trimmed and just kind of feel it out. And like I said, the first flight I was flying that 5.8 gigahertz transmitter in it that didn't really perform well, and it was pretty annoying. I was losing video the entire flight, just even flying around close. So I didn't stay up very long anyway. I just basically took it out, flew it long enough to let auto trim the servos, and I ran the auto pitch angle, whatever offset adjust. I forget what iNav calls it, but basically for it to level the board so it flies straight and level in fly-by-wire mode, or angle mode as iNav calls it. And then I just quickly landed, and I looked back. I reviewed what the flight controller recorded as far as milliamp hours used and compared that with my charger, put it back in, which was pretty close, but it was off a little bit. If I remember right, it was reading a little bit high, so I went back and anyway, I recalculated the current scaling to fix that. And the second flight was on a pretty windy day, so I didn't stay up very long. But that was basically just trying out the 1.3 gigahertz transmitter that I swapped into it, which worked much better. And even though it was a windy day, I still went ahead and did an auto tune. Now, when I auto tuned this one, I didn't let it tune the rates, because the rates are obviously way too high. I'd kind of learned that on the first flight too. So I set what I wanted, what I felt was good for pitch and roll rates, and then I set up auto tune just to respect those rates and not change them, and just tune the airplane for those rates. And so I did that, and then I landed, and then the third flight is what you'll see most of here, where it was actually pretty fun flying around. Now, it's not to say that the little plane can't be a decent range cruiser if you want. It's not very fast, but it is relatively efficient. It's not the best at efficiency or speed or anything, but it's not horrible. It can do it. But where it really shines and really shows its strengths is when you start playing around down low and slow. It can slow right down, and it's pretty forgiving and predictable. It will stall and drop a wing, but it's quick to recover. It's not too violent or anything like that. It doesn't really surprise you, and you have to really kind of make it do it anyway. But yeah, just flying around low and slow, it's responsive, it's slow, it's very forgiving. It's slow enough to get through gaps and under trees and things like you'll see kind of flying around here. So yeah, I guess I'll just end the video now with some flight footage. I'll throw up a little bit of copyright free music, whatever, to break the silence. And thank you for watching the video. So hopefully it's been enjoyable. Any questions or comments, put them below, and I'll try to answer them when I can. So enjoy.